Welcome back to the Relay Throw. I am your host, Aidan Lavin, along with Luke Sassa and Easton Eberwein from the Marist track and field team. And he's coming in, we're recording this Monday. He's coming in a day after the MAAC Championships for track and field. Easton, thank you for joining us. And we're really excited to have you, especially because we'll get into this, I'm sure, a little bit later, but you did place third and you got a bronze medal at the event, and congratulations on that, and obviously thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. So Luke, you have a track and field history, right?
I do.
And
I was more of a
that's
cross-country runner growing up. I was one of those people who did track to stay in shape. I was running the 16 and the 32. Nobody was paying attention. But yeah, definitely know a little bit about what that's like, at least at the high school level.
Yeah, so we obviously have Luke here who has a little bit of track and field experience to join Easton. Easton, you grew up in Dalton, Massachusetts, and what was growing up there like? How did you get into running? How did that all begin?
Yeah, so my town is a really small town, maybe 5 or 6 thousand people. I went to a really small high school. A lot of my friends around here, their class size was 500, 1,000 kids, whatever. My class size was 120.
Yeah.
So we were a pretty small school. But yeah, how I got into running, my dad was a big runner actually. So
Okay.
he was running to lose weight, and then he just got
Nice.
really addicted to it. So he started running marathons. He ran the Phoenix Marathon, the Boston Marathon,
Wow.
and then the New York Marathon. So I was playing soccer and basketball mostly, like as a kid. And then my dad, once I got to high school, he was like, just try track, might as well, get some of your friends to do it, it'll be fun. Like, it was more so like a secondary thing for me. I wasn't really worried about track that much. Because in the spring I was still playing AAU basketball, I was
Right.
still
Oh, really?
weightlifting, all that stuff. So track was really just whatever at that point. But so yeah.
What was the impact on your family after the Boston bombing happened on the Boston Marathon?
Yeah, so that was really before my dad got into
Okay.
running.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so the year my dad ran the Boston Marathon, I remember going to it. It was the worst Boston Marathon conditions I think there ever was. Like, it was really cold and it was pouring rain. Like,
Yep.
I was miserable standing out there in my warm clothes, and he was out there running. So I mean, he got through it all week. I remember him looking at the weather leading up, and it was just crap the whole
You train
way.
with him?
At the beginning, he would try to get me to go on runs with him, but I wasn't in shape at that point,
Okay.
so no. And then as I got better, I would run with him. But then as I got better than him, so
Yeah, right.
I couldn't run with him.
How
That's
old were
kinda
you when
funny.
he ran the Boston Marathon?
I was in high school. I want to say I was a freshman or sophomore in high school.
Gotcha.
So I was young. Yeah, I was maybe 16 years old.
That in and of itself is very interesting because now you're a D1 track and field athlete, and you're telling me that in high school, like at least in the freshman and sophomore year, you weren't in shape to run a marathon, where I'm sure now it's like a piece of cake for you and you do it all the time.
Yeah, so I've definitely switched my training a lot. I ran a lot of distance the past couple of years, but this year I've kind of been training more like a sprinter, which is what I've been wanting to do. So I really don't run more than like 6 minutes at a time, to
Right.
be honest with you. We do workouts and stuff, but I don't have that distance pace anymore.
Yeah.
I could get it back probably, but it would definitely take some time. But we work more like fast twitch muscles, lift a lot of weights, explosiveness, all that stuff, all the power that you need to explode when you're sprinting.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I guess now we can dive a little bit deeper into the high school stuff. Luke, I know you wanted to talk about a little bit of how COVID impacted Easton and things of that nature. So if you have any questions for him, go ahead.
Yeah, of course. So just first off, when you were in high school, would you say you were more of a distance runner or a sprinter, or was the switch to becoming a sprinter more recent for you?
Yeah, so I started off my high school career as a high jumper actually.
Oh, really? Wow.
So I would jump high jump because I was like, all right, I'm a basketball player.
Yeah.
I should be able to jump decently, and I was okay. I wasn't anything great or whatever, but and then I would run the 800 also. So I was more of like that long middle distance. or long sprint, middle distance type. But I definitely trained more distance towards the end of high school, I would say. And then even like my first 2 years at Marist on the team, I was training more so as a middle distance runner and then coming down to the 400. And now I think I'm training down and going up to it. So I've kind of flipped this year how I train for sure.
And then what was that process like for you, kind of just walking on as a freshman in high school without any type of middle school experience?
Yeah, so we didn't have indoor track from where I was, like I said, we were a really small school, so I played basketball in the winter, like I said, and walking on was definitely a process. I love my coach Pete, but he can be a little not responsive to emails sometimes. So it took him a few weeks to email me back. My cousin was actually on the team when I had reached out to him, so I used his name. I tried to get my cousin to talk to him, and I didn't really have track as a priority for me coming to college either. So I was like, I'm gonna choose where I want to go to college, and then I'm gonna see if I can run also. So I decided to come to Marist, mostly for the abroad program actually.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Which I never got to do.
Oh.
So like my freshman year, I was supposed to be in the FFE program, go to Florence all year long, and then they canceled it because of COVID.
Right, yeah.
So I ended up just staying home and doing all of my classes at home online my freshman year, and I just stayed in touch with Coach Pete throughout the year, and then I actually started really distance training during that stretch. I was like, if I'm not on the track team, then I might as well train for something. So I ended up running a half marathon my freshman year. And then I reached out to Pete again that summer, and I met with him come fall, and he gave me a spot on the roster.
So I remember, during the pandemic when I was in high school, running for me was definitely an outlet, going on long runs, kind of getting out of the house at a time when you were very cooped up. So what role did running play for you during that time, just in our society?
Yeah, so I feel like during COVID, athletes either went one of two ways, right? They either stopped training at all, or they just ramped it up like crazy. And I was the second one. Like me and one of my friends, we just started running everywhere. Every day we would go for runs, just no distance in mind, no time in mind. We would just kind of explore the town and
That's awesome.
just go and have fun, because that was a time when you couldn't really see other people or interact with other people. But we were outside, so it was okay, I guess.
6 feet.
Yeah, as long as we were 6 feet apart, which we definitely weren't. But
all good.
so yeah, it was fun. I think me and my friend got really close because of that, and we're still really good friends. He's a great runner also, and so yeah, that was definitely what I did.
And then do you have any memories that stick out to you just from running in high school? Any highlights?
Yeah, so I always say to my coaches now that my whole career is based off a 4x4 split. And I say that because in high school, as a junior, I was just like I said, I wasn't really super focused on track. I was just kind of doing it to do it. And then I was running in our 4x4, which is, if you don't know, it's 4 runners, each run 400 meters. And I was our leadoff leg, and I had a really good split for what I was running at the time. And it was a hand time split, so probably not very accurate. Probably ran slower, but my whole career is based off that one split in my plant. So my relay team ended up breaking our high school record. Not that it was very good or anything, but I kind of realized that I was good at running towards the end of my junior year, and then I didn't really have a chance to run again. Since I wasn't running cross country and we didn't have indoor track, and then senior year my season got canceled.
Yeah. Did you, as a freshman and sophomore, were you like still trying to play basketball at a collegiate level, or was it more just you're gonna play in high school and that's it?
Yeah, so I never really thought that I'd be able to play in college. I wasn't like that good. Basketball is definitely like my first love as a sport. Like I love basketball. I still love basketball. I love watching basketball, but I just wasn't very good.
Yeah.
So,
that's all right.
Yeah.
But what position did you play?
I was more like a guard forward. I was a really good defensive player. I couldn't score the ball for
grindy.
Glue guy, as we call it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Did you? So it doesn't sound like running, like for basketball, was your first love. It seems like you kind of grew into running. How did that process take place?
It really took place here at Marist, I would say. And also, I kind of fell out of love with basketball towards the end of high school. Not getting minutes or whatever kind of impacted my outlook on basketball, and then I kind of made running more of a priority. So into college too, like a lot of my friends have been running, since they were 5 years old, whatever, just been in the running world forever. Like I'm still really new to running.
Yeah.
For them, like seeing whoever at a track meet is like me seeing like an NBA player. Like they're so submerged into the running world, and I'm still working on it, but I'm just not that big about watching other people run, I guess. I like the Olympics and whatnot, but yeah.
That makes sense. That's interesting. I mean, for the Marist team, are there kids on that team that are submerged into it, like the people that you know, or is it a bunch of people like yourself where track is like kind of secondary?
Yeah, it's a lot of both, I would say. So like a lot of the distance kids are really just like nerds about running. They could list off who won this marathon when, what the world record in this is, who this guy is, whatever. But there a lot of sprinters, running wasn't their biggest thing either. Like we have a freshman who was a really good basketball player in high school. He was close to 1,000-point scorer. Tore his ACL, couldn't play in college, so he came here to run instead.
Who's that?
His name's Weston.
Okay.
Funny, right? Easton and Weston, right?
That's funny.
My coach loves that one.
I would imagine.
But so
Do you guys run like one's on the east, one's on the west when you run together?
We were on the relay together yesterday. Actually, we didn't hand off to each other, but we were on it together.
Funny.
It's got to be a recruiting thing for Pete.
Of course.
He's got maybe he'll have north and south next.
Yeah, he's definitely talked about it. So.
I would imagine. That makes sense. That's funny.
Well, speaking of Pete, what would you say your relationship has been like with the coaching staff here and kind of coming in as someone who's less experienced?
Yeah, so Pete's been great. Last year and the year before, I would meet with him every single Monday. So Mondays were our days off, and I would just go and sit with him in his office and just hang out all day pretty much, and we would just chat and game plan, because he had never really coached sprinters like that before. Pete's a traditional like distance coach, so he has never really recruited sprinters either, because like I said, he's more of a distance coach. So he kind of had to adapt his coaching style for me last year, almost, because he knew like that I wasn't your traditional sprinter, but I also wasn't your traditional distance kid. I was kind of somewhere in the middle. Yeah, so he definitely trained me up to go down, which I liked. But Pete's been awesome. He sent me an email this morning just talking about how proud he was of me after this past weekend, and just like how appreciative he is to have me, because I was a walk-on, but he's the one that gave me the initial opportunity. So I owe everything to him.
What is the training regimen like for getting ready for MAACs? I know I was talking to some swimmers. They kind of like decrease their level of training as they're getting closer, so that they feel at their peak going into the MAACs. So for sprinting and running, is that the same, or is it a different process?
Yeah, it's definitely the same.
Okay.
We're this far into the podcast, and I haven't even mentioned my actual coach right now, who's his name's Coach Billy.
Yep.
And he's a new coach this year, so we've all had to learn from him as well. But going back to your question, we definitely do taper before MAAC. So we're trying to get in the training room every single day. I think we did one hard workout last week, just to get the legs moving, trying to kind of iron out some details, right? Block starts, acceleration, arm drive, shin angle, all that kind of stuff. But we definitely pulled back a lot so that we could have our legs be fresh for the
makes sense.
Yeah.
And then just like, what kind of impact is being a runner having on your lifestyle, like what you're eating, your day-to-day, that sort of thing?
It's everything.
Right.
I think almost every decision I make has running in mind. I try to make sure I get enough sleep. I hydrate every single day. I don't really go out very much. I'm not really big into that. So yeah, pretty much everything I do is running in mind. Everything's based around practice time too, like when I'm gonna eat, what I'm gonna eat. It's all based around Yeah,
And
running
that
is
wasn't
my
the
life.
case for the longest time for you.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I was always an athlete, so I,
Took care of yourself.
I took care of myself. I tried to. Sleep is the biggest thing
Yeah.
for me. I try to get at least 8 to 9 hours every single night.
Are you able to just get sleep even if there's like nerves coming into a meet, that sort of thing, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. This past weekend, like, I was definitely nervous, but I was more confident than I've ever been, I would say, because, this is my third year on the team, so I'm really, this is my third time running indoor MAACs. I've ran 2 outdoor MAACs, so
Yeah.
I'm becoming a veteran, as weird as that is to say, because I feel like I just joined the team.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of tough for me to sleep the 2 nights before the races. Yeah, I took some melatonin, but it didn't help too much. So
That's funny. So I guess we can go into the MAAC Championships now. We could start from the very beginning. How did you guys? Obviously, we talked about the training part, and now we'll talk about getting there. Was that a bus, vans? What was the transportation like there?
yeah, so we took a bus.
Okay.
The drive wasn't too bad. It was at the Armory, which is in New York, so it wasn't too bad of a drive. Maybe an hour and a half.
Yep.
And we went back and forth both Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, really? You came back?
Yeah, we came back. Yep.
So, does that affect the legs at all? Because when you're sitting on the bus for an hour and a half, I mean, obviously you guys will warm up when you get there, but does it have any effect?
Yeah, definitely. When I get home, I'm definitely using recovery boots, putting my legs up to let the blood flow down.
Right.
I got in the trainers both mornings before getting on the bus. As soon as I get off the bus, I'm doing some laps to shake out. But yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And then what is your warm-up routine looking like before meet? Because every runner's kind of got their own routine that they like to do.
Yeah. So Coach Billy has given us all a very precise warm-up routine that we're supposed to do before every practice and every meet. So yeah, he actually printed out like laminated warm up cards that we have and use. So I'm starting with some just stationary stuff, getting my hips moving, getting my knees moving, squats, getting my core engaged, also my ankles. And then you move into the dynamic stuff, and really try to break a sweat. I like when I finish my warm up, I want to be drenched in sweat. So
Why is that?
because you really want to be warm.
Okay.
Like you want your muscles to be really warmed up.
There's so much science behind it. It's very interesting.
Yeah, because when you run cold, that's also when you can pull something as well.
Yeah.
So I keep my warm ups on until about 2 minutes before I race.
Wow. Have you experienced any injuries yourself, or have you been pretty clean?
Yeah, nothing major that's like kept me out of competing. I think I have a pretty high pain tolerance, so I'll run through like minor tweaks or whatever. I've had back issues for years, but I've ran through it. I had an Achilles problem my sophomore year, but nothing that's helped me out from the meet.
And then how long before your meet would you say you start to warm up and initiate that process just to avoid, kind of then running cold after the fact?
Yeah, I'd say the physical warm up, I usually start about an hour before, but mentally I'm starting to warm up as soon as I get on the bus. I'm putting my music in, trying to just like almost, yesterday my coach came back on the bus and he kind of went over game plan with me. I'm just trying to envision myself running before I actually do it.
What are you listening to?
Anything and everything.
Really?
Mixing it up?
You got all kinds of different, types of genres.
Yeah. Yesterday was a lot of A Boogie,
Nice.
some Drake, and some Kanye.
There you go. So you were rap yesterday. Is that like
rap.
as you get closer to the meet, you'll do like more hype music like rap?
Definitely,
That makes
yeah,
sense.
definitely.
What are you listening to out like when you're not getting ready for a race?
I like a lot of like slow folk country type. Morgan Wallen, Zach Bryan, those are 2 of my favorites. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. So you got a little bit of, I'd say, a very wide range of music variety.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's good. Very nice.
So when you're warming up, are you one of those people who you have like a teammate or two that you kind of cling to and do your routine with, or are you more of a lone wolf and you kind of just stick to yourself?
So it really depends. This weekend I was running the Open 400 by myself. I was the only one entered in it from Marist, so I kind of had to warm up by myself.
Right.
But traditionally we'll warm up 2 or 3, maybe 4 of us, because we'll all be racing together.
Yeah.
But I do like to put my earbuds in if I am warming up with other people. So I like to kind of lock in on my own, but if we're all warming up together, so be it.
So you're still kind of in the zone as you're warming up.
Exactly.
So then we've kind of been hinting at your performance this season, but I guess we'll just mention some specifics. So back on January 26th, I saw that you'd ran the second fastest 400 time in school history at 49.27 seconds. So just what did it mean to you to kind of, put your name in the record books for Marist?
Yeah, it was cool. I definitely want first, but I'll take second for now. And it was funny because I didn't really have a great race that day. Like, it didn't feel any more difficult or any less difficult than any other races that I've ran. But the thing with the indoor 400 is it gets really clumped up.
Right.
So almost every race I have, I'm getting bumped up. I've got to go outside the pass, and it just gets all crammed up, and I get all screwed up pretty much. So my coach keeps saying, once we get that perfect race, like you're gonna run incredible.
Have you had a perfect race? Like, what would that feel like?
I don't know if I've had a perfect indoor race. Not this year, anyways. Maybe last year. It's
Okay.
like just getting to the break first. Just staying smooth, not getting tripped up on anyone. Just accelerating when you need to, and running the race smart.
Do you feel the environment around you? What is that like at the MAAC Championships?
Yeah, I definitely do. So yesterday, like when I'm doing my runouts, and everyone's right there on the curb, staring up at me, cheering for me and whatnot. So I try to just zone everything out, and when I do run, I pretty much do zone everything out. I don't really hear anyone.
Yeah.
Except for my mom when she's at my race. She's the only one.
Was she there yesterday?
No, she wasn't.
Oh no.
It's a long drive for them. So
Yeah.
they were watching the
right.
live stream though. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of wondered as a distance guy myself, the mental game is so important when you're running a distance type of race because you're running for a long time. I mean, a 5K, you're out there for 16, 17, 18 minutes. You got to lock in and, the thoughts that you have really can impact your performance. But for you now being a sprinter, I mean, the race is almost over before you even start. So is it something where you find you're able to just kind of zone out very easily in such a short race?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like most of the times I just like black out while I'm racing, to be honest with you. Like I'm definitely like focused, and like in my head I'm kind of going through the race as it's playing out, right? So yesterday in the final, I got to the break in third, and I was like, all right, like I'm not coming in third. Like I need to get around these kids. I need to make my move. So I eventually did get around the kids, and I ended up passing both of them. But like it's very mental, but I do definitely just kind of like lock in really when I race, yeah.
And then as you just mentioned, you took home bronze yesterday in the 400 at the MAACs. What does that mean to you after being somebody who kind of just stumbled into running when you first got here?
Yeah, no, it was a good feeling. I definitely thought I could have done better though. My coach won't be happy for me to say that, but I thought I could have done better. So the way they do the 400 finals in indoors is they have to split it up into two heats. So there's only 6 lanes. So the final is 8 people.
Okay.
So they put 4 guys in the first heat, 4 guys in the second heat, and that's just the 3 fastest overall times take home the medal. So I won my heat, but then there was 2 guys in the second heat that just ran faster than me.
Interesting.
So I thought maybe if I got put in a faster heat, I could have been a little bit better.
You think that would push you to be faster when you're facing obviously faster people?
Definitely. I love chasing people.
Interesting.
I always run faster when I'm not the winner in my heat.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
I guess, psychologically, if
Makes sense.
you see someone in front of you, it really does, that will increase your speed.
Oh, definitely. I mean, in my trial, there was one kid in front of me, and we were fighting on the back stretch. Like, I was like, I gotta win, I gotta win. And then he ended up beating me by like .001 or something like that. So it definitely pushed me to finish that race, and I thought if I had that in the final, I could have definitely ran faster because my time wasn't anything great. I think I could run a lot faster than that. But
he's never satisfied, it sounds like.
How exactly are they determining like who's going in each heat for that?
I'm not exactly sure, but I think they snake it. So the way the finals work is there's 5 heats of trials. So the winner of each heat in the trials automatically advances to the finals. It doesn't matter what your time is as long as you win that heat. And then the next 3 fastest times make finals. So I was the fastest non-heat winner, even though I had like the third fastest time in trials. So, and then I think they snake it. It's like the number one person from trials goes in heat 2, and then 2 and 3 are in 1, and then 4 and 5 are in 2, and then just keep going back and forth.
Do you have like a scouting report, so to speak, on the other runners within the MAAC?
Yes and no. So like there's a website called TFers, which
Okay.
pretty much has every collegiate runner's PRs and past races and all of that. And I also know a lot of these guys. I've been racing against them for a couple of years.
Right.
The dude that won yesterday was the same kid that beat me last year, so I know who he is. He's a fast dude, so
Gonna have him pinned on your wall as motivation.
yeah, he's
There's
a really
rivalry there.
Yeah, really nice kid though. I talked to him after the race, and he was
That's
really really nice.
Where is he from?
Manhattan.
Okay.
But that's the thing with track is kids are really nice.
Yeah.
Like it's not like basketball, where you're trash talking and all that stuff. But obviously before the race, I'm not saying anything to them. But after the race, I like to congratulate people and just like kind of build a relationship, because it's cool to see other people succeed as well. You know?
For sure.
Like I'm more so worried about my own times than I am about anyone else's.
I think you got to make a good point with that, because like track is one of those sports where there's the individual component, but then there's also the team component as well, and kind of weighing your own goals versus like how the team performs, especially in the relay type races. So just talk to me a little bit about the rest of your team's performance from yesterday.
Yeah, so we had some good performances, and we had some great performances, and we had some not so good performances. Our 2 pole vaulters did great. One of them didn't even get to pole vault throughout the year. He had mono and was sick, and he's a freshman. He hasn't pole vaulted since the spring, and he went on and did very well. And our other pole vaulter, similar thing. He was a broad all fall, and then he pole vaulted once during the season and just came in and did his thing. So they stepped up big. And then I'll give a shout out to my guy Pax, Chris Paxis. He did awesome in the mile. He's been struggling through some injuries and whatnot, so he came in and did what he had to do to score in the mile. And, I'll give one more shout out to Amari. He is a young kid. He's a sophomore. He is our best sprinter, short sprinter, and he went up against some really good kids in the
Watts
60.
is his last name, right?
Mathis, so he competed really hard in the 60, and he had a good weekend for sure.
I've seen a lot from him on the website. He races pretty hard.
Yeah, he's awesome.
That's good. And he's a freshman?
He's a sophomore.
Okay, sophomore.
So he'll be around for a little while.
Yeah, he's young.
So then where do you kind of see the state of the program right now, being a senior? Where do you think things are going to go moving forward?
Yeah, I think things are only going to go up, to be honest. We have a really young program. A lot of our guys are freshmen and sophomore. I feel like the old man on the team. I'm the team dad, whatever. It just makes me feel old. But I think with the addition of Coach Billy, and they're building the new track, which is awesome. And I hope I get to experience it. I'm coming back for a 5th year next year, so I hope I get to experience
Breaking news.
Yeah,
breaking news first.
So, yeah, I think things are really only going to go up once we, start hiring more coaches and the track comes. It'll be easier to recruit, and the program's just going to keep building.
And so then, being an upperclassman, I mean, one of the highlights when I was in high school was being my team captain. My younger brother was a freshman on the team, so that was very special to kind of, be a mentor to some of the younger runners after, older runners had kind of mentored me growing up. So what has that been like for you, both being mentored when you first got here and now being more of a mentor yourself?
Yeah, so my sophomore year, there was this one senior that I kind of did everything with. I just kind of looked at him. He wasn't a captain or anything. I just kind of looked at him for advice, and trained with him and whatnot. So he really helped me out. And then my junior year, I was made a captain. It was like my 2nd year of taking track seriously, and I was made a captain, which was surprising, but I guess hard work pays off.
Yeah.
And so I was still really new at everything, so I had guys that were older than me that weren't captains, that have been running far longer than I had. So I was still new. I was trying to figure things out on my own, while also trying to, make sure these other guys were doing what they needed to do along the way. And then this year, I definitely, I've had more experience, and my training group is a lot of freshmen, so they've kind of needed the leadership, and I feel like I've done what I've been able to help them and, guide them in their journey in this first year of collegiate track.
What are those things that you're trying to balance as you're figuring everything out?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I still work an internship during
Right.
the week. I have a girlfriend, my family, all my friends, and then running and schoolwork. So it's a lot of balancing things out, but I like to be busy.
Yeah.
I like to just have a list of things to do and kind of check them off. So
What is your internship? I guess that goes with your 5th year also. What are you interning in, and then your 5th year, what are you doing for that?
yeah, so I intern at General Dynamics Mission Systems,
Okay.
which is like a defense contractor for the government.
Yeah.
And I only work 5-10 hours a week, but it's enough to pay for my groceries.
Shop right.
Yeah, so it's not much, but it's something. And my master's is going to be in information systems
Nice.
and data analytics. So project management
Cool.
is what I want to do. Yeah.
That's why he was at your data analytics.
That was why I was there. Yeah.
Right, for those who don't know, I'm also president of the Sports Analytics Club, and he was at my meeting the other day. It was awesome to see you there. So what do you think you kind of want to do career-wise coming out of this, and does running play any factor in what you want to do after Marist?
Yeah, that's a good question. I definitely want to do some sort of project management. What area exactly, I'm not sure. I would love to do sports. I just think it's a really competitive area to work in.
Of course, yeah.
So if the opportunity presents itself, I would love to. And I would also love to coach too, whether that's running or basketball. I'm not sure, but yeah, I would love to coach.
We've gotten this far into the podcast, and we haven't asked you your favorite basketball team.
Oh, I'm a Celtics fan. So
that makes sense.
Good,
for Massachusetts.
Good year for you.
Good year to be a Celtics
Good
fan.
past
for
few
sure.
years.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
What are your favorite moments from watching the Celtics?
The Derek White buzzer beater last year against Miami was incredible.
Every Celtics fan says that.
Oh, it was awesome. I was watching with my cousin and my uncle, and we just, as soon as it happened, we just started jumping up and down, screaming.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Have you been to TD before?
Yeah, I have a buddy who has season tickets, so we'll usually go to
That's awesome.
the game each year. I got to see Luka in person last
That's
year.
pretty cool.
And I got to see Durant and Harden and Kyrie the year before.
Wow.
So,
with the Nets?
Yep.
That was when they...
I don't know if they all played, but
yeah.
I don't think Kyrie played. But
Well, that's not a shocker.
Shocker, yeah.
In and out of the lineup with him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite player now?
Probably Tatum,
That
but
makes
I'm
sense.
also a Devin Booker fan.
Okay.
I love Booker. I liked him at Kentucky, and I have his jersey, but he's probably my favorite non-Celtic.
Do you pay attention to college basketball? Obviously, you're talking about Devin Booker at Kentucky. Do you pay attention now at any point?
A little bit. I love March Madness.
Okay.
That's when I watch it, and I follow the Marist team also.
Nice.
Yeah.
You have is he still living with you, Stefan?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, so you have a former basketball player as your roommate, so I'm sure he's talking about it pretty often, and obviously you follow them as well. Do you have any thoughts on the Marist basketball team?
I've been to a couple of games. I'll watch the games also, but they look good, man.
Yeah.
I think they can make a run in the tournament for sure.
Who would you say that your game is most similar to?
On that team, no one.
You're a defender, so probably, maybe, can you shoot at all?
Sometimes.
On offense, what would you say is your best ability?
I'm a good passer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he could be a Jaden Collins, maybe.
There you go.
He's a good defender, good passer.
Well, being a Massachusetts guy, are you like a Boston sports fan across the board for all sports?
Yeah, I am. I don't really pay attention to the other sports as much.
Fair enough.
But I definitely root for the Celtics, root for the Bruins, root for the Patriots. So yeah.
Did you have any athletes that you idolized growing up, or ever tried to like compare yourself to?
Not really, to be honest. Really, my dad.
Oh.
Yeah, because like when I was getting into running, I wanted, like, that was kind of something that we bonded over, was running, and he kind of introduced me to the running world and all this crazy stuff that runners do, like the gel packets and the weird smoothies and all that stuff. So,
right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that he kind of took on running to lose weight, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
Was running ever something that had previously been something in his life, or was that something he kind of got into later in life?
So he was an athlete. He played college baseball at Skidmore, and he played football in high school. So he was an athlete, but never a runner.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big skier too, actually.
Oh, really?
Downhill skiing. Yeah, like when we were kids, he would go and race. As an adult until he blew out his knee, and then I think that kind of started the process. And then eventually he was like, I want to get back in shape, and just kind of started running.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is he still running to this day?
Yes, but not as much.
Okay, so does he, because he's not a, professional runner, so to say, but when you have your meets, like, are there things that he would notice while watching that he can give you tips on, or he kind of just lets you do your thing?
He thinks he knows what he's talking about, as all dads do,
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, he'll give me advice for sure, and
You just say, okay.
I just say, all right. You know, I've got coaches for that.
Yeah.
So.
How have there's 3 coaches for the men's program, yeah?
Yeah.
So how have all of them kind of worked together, and how have they helped you?
Yeah, so like I said, early on in my career, Coach Pete was doing a lot of my training. He really had to individualize for me, and we would brainstorm together workouts and what my weeks were gonna look like. It's like Monday, I'm going in the office, and I knew what I was doing the rest of the week.
Mm-hmm.
But we need a real sprint coach. We have Coach Terry, who's not a full-time assistant. He's just part-time, and he's awesome. But we needed like a real, true, full-time assistant coach to do the sprints with us, and that's where Billy came in. Me and a couple of the other runners last year, a couple other captains, went to Tim Murray and we're like, we need another coach. And he brought Billy to us, and Billy has been awesome. He's a weird guy, but we love him, and he's done a lot for us because he doesn't just prioritize running, he prioritizes like your mental as well.
Right.
So he'll do these like walkthroughs with you, and we'll break down film, which I've never done for running before. And
from practices or just from meets?
From meets mostly.
Okay.
We've done practices like in the fall when we're not competing. We'll record practice and we'll break it down.
Is that kind of looking at technique and that sort of thing?
Yeah. So I remember coming in like first day, Billy watched me run. He told one of our other coaches, he's like, I know exactly how to fix this.
That's funny.
I was like, man, I didn't know I had anything wrong, but there's a lot of technical stuff that you don't really realize. You see all these different guys with different running forms. Some are more efficient than others, and usually those tend to be the better runners.
Yeah.
Because a lot of distance running, especially, is all about efficiency, right? If you're moving your arms just ever so too much, you're wasting energy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I had to change a lot of what I have been doing about my running form, and that helped me in the long run.
How long does that typically take to be able to change it? Because the way you run has to be over a long period of time, and all of a sudden you have to switch it. How long does that usually take?
It took the whole fall.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean, I still am not perfect. There's still more that I can change about my knee drive or my arm swing or whatnot. And Billy even said that he's like, I don't expect you guys to get this in a week or two. Like this is gonna take the whole year.
What's the partnership with the strength and the, I guess, the sports science staff?
Yeah, so I love Coach Suma. He's the man. I got big into lifting, like after my first year, I was like, man, I'm too small. I need to put on some muscle. So Coach Suma wrote me my own strength and conditioning plan, like just for me personally. So I was lifting multiple days a week. I think it was 4 days a week, full body workouts, and I kind of treated that as the main priority for my like summer training, was just putting on muscle. And then I kind of came into this year, and Billy and Pete were like, you put on too much muscle.
That's funny.
Like it's time to slim down a little bit now. So, and then as with the trainers, it's been better. Our relationship has been better. It was a little shaky last year, but we had a trainer at our meet Saturday, which was cool to see, and he was helpful. But Billy does a lot of that stuff too. He'll stretch me out before my races.
In the past, was there more of a neglect for the track and field team?
I wouldn't say neglect. I'd more so say that they're understaffed.
Okay.
Like, there's only so many trainers, and there's a couple hundred athletes.
Right.
So. And the training room is tiny. I don't know if you've ever been in there, but it's tiny.
Yeah.
For the number of athletes we have, it's just
Seems packed in there all the time. Yeah.
It's always packed in there,
Yeah.
So I'll always try to go at like off hours or whatever, and you kind of gotta find a way around it.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So with that in mind, what did it mean to you guys to see the athletics department respond when you guys expressed that you wanted to have a more sprinter-specific coach brought into the program?
Yeah, that was awesome. I remember I was mid-lift in the summer when Coach Pete called me. He said, "We have a new sprint coach," and I just got like chills, because I was like, "This dude's gonna like bring me to what I want to do," like. And it was definitely tough at first. It was an adjustment for sure, because here he is, this new guy coming in and trying to just like change everything. But like, you kind of just gotta buy in. I just bought in and I trusted him, and because there's nothing else you really can do. I don't want to go against what my coach is saying, and some guys did, and they haven't done as well because of it. So he definitely not messed up, but like he just changed a lot, and it was an adjustment. But I love Billy. He's my man.
What led you to trust in Billy?
He's got a good background. So he started his own youth track club. He was an assistant at, I believe, Indiana State, and then he was the head coach at Bard the last couple of years. So he's a really smart guy when it comes to track, and he knows a lot, and he does a lot of things that Pete doesn't do. Like he's someone, like I said, he'll stretch me out before my race, or he'll break down film with me, or he'll mentally like get in my head, and make sure that I'm okay, and he'll check in on me and like all that kind of stuff. So he even said like early on, he's like, I don't expect you guys to trust me because I don't trust you yet.
Yeah.
So I was like, might as well just trust this guy, because he's gonna be my coach this year, next year. So might as well trust him.
And then what would you just say on the whole, looking back over all your time at Marist, your time has been like in this program? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's been awesome. Like my best friends are guys on the team. So not only have I created good memories running, but also good memories with the people that I've met while running. So I've had a really good experience. We've definitely been fighting for some change. Like we went and advocated for a sprint coach. We've been advocating for a track for years, and it's finally happening. And
what is that like? It's not the same for you because you walked on, but I don't know if you've heard experiences from your other teammates, like when they're being recruited to a school for track and field that doesn't have an outdoor track, how are they compelled to come to Marist over, say, another school?
Yeah, so that's why we don't recruit a lot of sprinters.
Okay.
Because sprinters more so need the track than like a distance kid would.
Of course.
So the distance kids come here because of the education or the beautiful campus or whatever, and they can go run on the rail trails right there. They can hop on the rail trail just like 10 feet from campus, whatever.
Yep.
So they can go and do workouts out there, but that's why sprint recruits are tough to come by.
That makes sense, yeah. So obviously you said that the outdoor track is now going to help with the sprinting recruiting class and all that. What are the other impacts that you foresee the track having?
Yeah, I think it'll be good for everyone. I think, other teams can use it for conditioning. Once we get more track and field staff, like Billy could even help with other teams. What do you call it? Conditioning. So he could help write up plans to get other teams in shape. Which he actually did for the girls lacrosse team, I believe. Over the winter break, I think he wrote their conditioning plan. And then they're putting a big turf field in the middle too, so I'm sure some other teams will use that also.
Yeah. Does it encourage you, I guess would be the word, having the president be a guy with a running background?
Oh, definitely. I like Weinman. I've never talked to him myself, but I've had one of my best friends had a dinner with him.
Okay.
And, he's a huge fan, and Weinman he seems like he cares about the athletes. Like even last year, he did a captain's lunch where he invited the captains of all the different teams to lunch and just kind of like we all got to go up and kind of retell the highlights from our seasons and whatnot and share it with the other captains. So that was really cool. Yeah.
And then for those who don't know, where are you practicing with there not being a track on campus? Where do you do your workouts?
Yeah, so most of the times when we're gonna go outside, we go to Vassar. We pile into vans and we get to use their track. And then if we want to do indoor hard workouts, we'll go to New Paltz. We'll like pile into vans and drive to the New Paltz track, indoor track, which isn't a great track, but it's better than what we have. And
Something, yeah.
Yeah, and we've also been utilizing the indoor McCann track a little bit too. So Billy's been really creative with that, and it's a short track, and it's pretty much like a square.
Right.
But we've been
sharp angles.
Yeah, but he's been creative, and we've been using that to the best of its ability, I think. So you just got to be clever. We do sprints in the hallways too. So you got to be creative when you don't have the right tools and resources. You know.
You were talking about last year how the captains were able to recap the highlights. This season for you, what were some of the highlights from this season?
Yeah, I'd say, last year at Indoor Max, we came dead last. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. I missed finals by 2/10 of a 2,000ths of a second. We had other guys miss the finals by one spot, whatever. Everything that could have went wrong went wrong. So the fact that we didn't come in last this year was definitely a success. It'll be really hard for us to do better at these conference championships until we get field events.
Right.
Because almost every field event except for pole vault, we just get swept and we get nothing from any, long jump, triple jump, high jump, weight throw, shot put. We get nothing from any of those. So Ryder, who won, they absolutely sweep all of that stuff. So once we get this new track and hopefully some more coaches and then recruit the athletes for these other events. Hopefully we'll just keep climbing the ladder and keep.
So to your knowledge for that, do you know like what the timeline is for when you guys expect this track to be in place? Do you think it'll all be during your time here, or is it going to be in a few years from now?
I've heard a lot of different things. So Tim Murray said that we should be able to run on it in the fall. This fall.
Really?
I've also heard that it won't be done till the spring. And then I've also heard it won't be done for 5 years. So
all over the place.
So we will see. I'm really hoping it's the first one, because I think it doesn't take that long to build the actual track. It's more so the buildings and the bathrooms and the bleachers and all that stuff that take time. So maybe the actual track will be done early, but the rest of the stuff might take some time.
That makes sense.
I hope.
What's the relationship like between the men's team and the women's team? How do they kind of combine?
Yeah, we really coexist, so we all have the same coaches. We have a different, so their head coach is their head coach, but Coach Pete is kind of the director of both teams.
Right.
So we travel together, we work out together, especially on the sprint side, we do workouts together, we lift together, so we are one of those teams where both the men's and women's teams kind of do everything together, I would say. And, yeah, we have good relationships with them.
I saw Parker O'Brien, I believe she did pretty well just throughout the whole year, but also in the MAACs. Who are some of the standouts from the women's side?
Yeah, Parker's awesome. Sierra Fisher is really good. And then one of the freshmen had a really good race yesterday, Kayla Hawkins. She ran really, really well. And that team is also really young. They have a huge freshman class that, once they get to work with Billy for another year or two, they're going to be good.
So both teams have a lot of potential.
Definitely, yeah.
That's good. Very nice. Luke, you have anything else?
I think that's all I got.
All right, Easton, if you have anything else you want to add, feel free to do so. Now's the time.
No, I think that's good. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
All right, this has been another episode of the Relay Throw with bronze medalist from the MAAC Championships, Easton Eberwein. Easton, thank you for coming on, and we will see you next episode.